Welcome to Purpose and Passion. I'm so excited because I have my comadre in the building today. And a lot of you guys will probably say, what is a comadre? A person that baptized your child, which becomes family. That's how I look at it in our family. And I'm excited because we've been knowing each other since, oh my gosh, I think we were going into adulthood, maybe like 17, 18 years old or something like that. And I'm just so excited to have her here because she's a lawyer. And you guys already know how I start off. I love to read from my notepad because I don't want to mess nothing up. So today we have Juanita Kay. She's a criminal defense attorney, and her law firm is called Kay Law Firm. And you can find her online at jkdefense.com or on social media at JDK Criminal Defense. Welcome, Juanita.
Hi, good afternoon.
Good afternoon. I'm so excited that you're here. I can't wait for you to share your story. It's very powerful in my personal opinion.
Well, thank you for having me here. I'm excited to be here with you today.
Oh my gosh. Well, tell the viewers how your day started today.
My day was very busy. I have twins, so before I go to court, I have to make sure that they get ready for school, drop them off. And as I'm going to court, I also take several client calls as they come in. Go to court, and then go back to my office and had some office appointments. And now I'm here.
You see, ladies, a lawyer, okay? Oh my gosh, an attorney with twins, and they're young. How old are they?
My twins are 6 years old.
6 years old. That's still young because any children that are under 13 are young to me. It's a lot of responsibility, you know what I mean? And it's beautiful because I can't wait for you to share your journey with the viewers today. And so where are your parents from?
My parents are from Mexico. Specifically, my mother is from Zacatecas.
Woohoo!
And my dad is from Jalisco.
Awesome. And where were you born and where did you grow up?
So I was born in Santa Monica. I grew up part of my childhood in West Los Angeles and the other part in Inglewood, California. So kind of moved around due to just family issues, and we had to move. So,
yeah, all right. How was elementary, junior high, and high school for you?
Elementary, I would consider it was just like any other school. You know, I had a normal childhood, you know, up to 6th grade. And then I went to junior high in West LA.
Okay.
I'm the first girl in my family, so I'm surrounded by boys. So I have 2 older brothers. So my first day of junior high, my older brothers always took care of me. So, you know.
Yes.
So I was really well taken care of. Nobody really messed around with me because I was so-and-so's little sister. So we take care of her. And high school, we had to move to Inglewood.
Yes.
So I went to Inglewood High for, I want to say less than a year.
Okay.
But before that, I was going to University High School in West LA. And my high school was interesting because just the education that I was receiving in West LA versus Inglewood, it was quite different. I could say...
And be honest, because, you know, that's a good thing to educate people. Like, it's the truth. Like, different areas have different types of education, right?
Right.
Some can be great, some can be not so great.
Right. And I just felt that the education that I was getting at Inglewood High compared to what I had before was not something that was going to help me in my future. So
yes,
it was just not the education that I was expecting. And so I ended up leaving Inglewood and I graduated from Venice High School.
Hey.
So I went to 3 high schools. I did graduate. And I mean, it was a little bit rough because I just had to move around so much, but I finished.
That's awesome. Congratulations. High school diplomas are important as well, okay?
Yes, they are.
Education is important as well, but you're going to meet different people on the shows that, became entrepreneurs without a high school diploma, but I promote education. I think it's a great tool to get us prepared for either college or a trade school. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I completely agree.
So then we met during the party era. We had so much fun, though.
Is it over? Is the party era over? Really?
I think so. In the 90s, oh my gosh. Ay, ay, ay. But we had very good times, enjoyed always being around with you. I loved partying with you, hanging out with you. And I remember I wanted you to share the story of being a young mom, to inspire the next people that understand that sometimes we can have obstacles, sometimes struggles, but as long as we believe in ourselves, we can get anything done. You know what I mean?
Right. Yes, I became a mother. I want to say I was 20 when I had my child. I have a 22-year-old son. He's 22 today. I fell in love at a really young age.
Yeah.
And in my culture, if you get pregnant before you get married, it's ostracized. It's not something that you're supposed to do. So I had to leave home.
Okay.
I left home and I was going to be a mother and was going to start this life with the person I fell in love with.
Yes.
That was really hard. I tried to continue because I was in college at the time. I tried to continue, but just raising a child and working full time was really difficult. Not to mention that the father of my child was also young.
Yes.
So that was difficult. So I dropped out and focused on raising a child and working. I moved in and lived with my son's father. That did not work for several reasons. I think for the most part, I think we were just too young.
Yes.
So I wasn't happy. I fell in love with a gang member.
Okay.
And I realized, even though I still love him till this day,
Yes,
I just noticed that that was not the type of life that I wanted to live.
Yes.
So I decided to apologize to my family. My mom
Oh, wow.
came back home and re-enrolled back into school and told my son's father that this was not going to be it.
Yes.
So the point is, when something just doesn't feel right, you need to change whatever it is that's not right. Don't say, I'm going to do this. Okay, maybe in 6 months or whatever. Just start doing it.
Yeah.
Don't just move to action. I think what it is.
Take action and what you're feeling in your heart.
Right. And if you're not happy, then follow your instinct. Because oftentimes our instinct, that little voice in our head, is what's right. So don't be afraid to do that.
Yes, to make a great decision for yourself. Right?
Right.
That's wow. Thank you for telling me that story, because the reality is I know certain things about you, but not the full story. So to see the full story, it's a beautiful, touching experience. You know what I mean? To go through what you went through. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then to say, I need to do what's going to make me happy.
Absolutely.
And
I think another component of that is your family is going to be there for you.
You are correct.
Your family's
You
gonna
never
be there
lied
for
about
you.
that. That's true. Yes.
So I could always depend on my parents.
Yeah.
And luck, I mean, I know that some people don't have that.
Yes.
But for the most part, that's kind of like, family's usually there.
Yeah. And mom and pops were always awesome, with me, period. And then the journey of going to college and finishing, and finishing your education. Take us through the journey of college with you,
So when I went back to school with college, My grade point average was terrible because I had to essentially stop going to school, and I resigned, and I had just bad grades.
Yes.
And so my grade point average was really low. I want to say it was like 1.9 or something
Okay.
nuts. And so I had met with a counselor at Santa Monica College because that's where I started.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, hey, these are the schools that I want to go to. I want to go to UCLA. And her response was, and I don't remember what her name was,
Yes.
you shouldn't be looking at UCs because you're essentially not going to get there. You should be looking at Cal States. And she was wrong because I went back to school and I started getting A's. And when I applied to UCLA, I was an honor student at Santa Monica College. I was working full-time plus.
Yes.
So more than 40 hours and raising a child on my own. I eventually got accepted into UCLA and other schools. And when I was at UCLA, I decided that I wanted to pursue a career in law because I did grow up in an environment where one of my family members was always getting in trouble with the law.
Yes.
And I seen how difficult it was for our family to get adequate legal representation for him. And so that's essentially where my interest in law kind of arose. So at UCLA, I did a lot of volunteer work in the community, helping people, for example, how to get divorced or help them fill out child custody forms. Not as a lawyer, just as a volunteer. We worked under the supervision of another attorney.
Yes.
So I did a whole bunch of community work, trying to give back to the community basically give back to the community and help people who couldn't afford that on their own.
Wow.
And then obviously law school came.
Yes.
After that. So, yeah.
And then law school happened. And we don't have to talk too much about it, but I do want to talk about you going to college far away and losing your child's father and the journey of like how you didn't give up. Because for me, I feel like at that time and that age, comparing myself, like if I was in your shoes, I probably would have dropped out. You know what I mean? Because that's hard, you know? So I wanted you to share the story with our viewers to kind of, there's a testimony behind that. You know what I mean? And that testimony is very powerful. And that's why I super admire you.
No,
I'm serious. Like there's many things I admire you know that.
Yeah.
But that one right there was a thing that I said to myself, like, damn, I don't know if I would have continued on, you know? And so just to hear that point of view from you, I wanted you to share that with the viewers.
So I went to law school out of state in Oregon, Portland, Oregon. And I had a son. At the time he was 7, and I was separated from my son's father. We weren't together anymore. We were friends, but not together. And I told him I was going to go to law school, and I asked him to help me with my son, Andrew.
Yes.
So he would stay. The agreement was he would stay with him for like a week and then a week with my family. And I traveled back and forth from Oregon to California to see him.
Yes.
And then after my first year of law school, I came back home to work in California, in LA, at a law firm because you work where you want to practice.
Yes.
So less than a week back in, my son's father gets murdered. It's difficult to talk about it.
Yeah, that's why I said I don't want you to go into details because I don't know.
So exactly, I won't go into details, but I had to, make changes because I didn't have him helping me raise my child.
Yes.
Obviously had my family and his family, which were very supportive, and they still are till this day.
Yes.
So I had to take my son Andrew to Oregon with me, and I didn't really have a support system out there. So he would go to school with me, and my law school friends would help me take care of him. Yeah, I
Wow.
was really fortunate to have really good friends in law school.
Yes.
So he would go, sometimes he would have to go to class with me. So the
Mm-hmm.
professors used to joke around and say, this is the youngest student in law school. Anyways, so we did that for almost a year, and that was really difficult.
Yes.
So I did think about dropping out.
Mm-hmm.
That was something that came through my mind several times and throughout. But I kept on thinking that that's not something that my son's father would want me to do.
Mm-hmm.
I think he wanted me to continue. So I kept on moving forward, and I just adjusted things.
Yes.
I sent him back home. I sent my son back home with my parents, and then I did my third year of law school in Los Angeles.
Yes.
And so there was, I did think about dropping out, but for me, I couldn't just stop. Because I wanted to make a better life for my son.
Yes.
And I knew that he was the only one, that I was the only one that he had.
Yes.
So I wanted to be a good example for him, and then for other women in my situation.
Yes.
Who get pregnant at a young age and things happen, that you keep on going. You just don't stop.
Yes.
And so that was really the driving force.
Wow. A strong why, right? A strong why.
Exactly.
The strong why was your child.
Yeah.
And knowing that you wanted to give him a better opportunity in life. And wow, I'm just thank you for sharing that with us. I'm serious.
You're welcome.
Thank you. We go through trials and tribulations, in life. And when you go through trials and tribulations in life, you just can't give up. It brings back to me where I think I could have been another statistic. I could have been prison or dead, right? But I never gave up on just trying to be who I am. And that's a giver, a person that wants to mentor kids, somebody that wants to do, to give food away, backpack schools, things like that. And my mother was the person that pushed me to start my nonprofit.
Oh,
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
She's the one who pushed me. I was like, no, because I was so used to working for other nonprofits to hide behind them because that meant that I wasn't responsible.
Right.
Because I was hiding behind a nonprofit.
Right.
But when you start your own nonprofit and you do your own events, if it goes bad or good, you're responsible.
Exactly.
So I had to learn to grow some huevos. And I did it. Exactly. And I started the nonprofit because of my mom. And then I took a life coaching course because later on in years from now, I want to become a life coach to other individuals.
Right.
And I learned a lot, from those courses to become certified.
Right.
And I still got to go to Miami to do the NLP part of it, And so when I look back at my past and look at some of my friends that are buried at Holy Cross Cemetery or they're doing prison time right now or coming out of prison, I'm very grateful. So it's gratitude, you know what I mean? And not giving up. So yeah, it's just hearing your story. Like I'm, not trying to cry because I know I didn't know everything, but I knew enough to know how you felt and what you had to go through. You know what I mean? And just to see you here now, a lawyer with your law firm. You know what I mean? I remember when you became the lawyer, when you got sworn in.
I know
I was there. I had to be there because I was like, this is historic for me,
right?
For friendship, to say I have a friend that is a lawyer. You know what I mean?
That was actually 10 years ago.
I know, and it feels like yesterday. It did, and the pictures when they pop up on Facebook, I'm like, wow, look at these memories. And so now, once you start working for the, law firms, how did that come about? Did you get married first, then started your law firm, or how did that work?
I got married first.
Okay.
But after law school, I started working for a big law firm downtown.
Okay.
I was doing workers' compensation defense, so representing big corporations And if you read my personal law statement and what I was doing, there was a disconnect. Okay. And so while in law school, kind of just backtracking a little bit, I was working for the DA's office out there, working on the trial team, so taking cases to trial. And obviously the interest in doing prosecution work was because I lost somebody, and I felt that it was important to hold people accountable for their crimes, and to have victims of crime have closure.
Yes.
In cases like this, or serious crimes.
Yes.
So I did work there, and I came back to LA. I ended up landing this big law firm job, making a lot of money, but I wasn't happy.
Okay.
So my girlfriend, she's also an attorney. She was working at a criminal defense firm and said, why don't you come start doing work for us?
Yes.
And that's kind of how it started. So I worked for a criminal defense firm for 6 years, something like that.
Is that the Orange County one?
Yeah.
Okay, I remember.
So I started doing a lot of work in Orange County, strictly Orange County. And I was hired because I spoke Spanish.
That's good.
Right.
Everybody needs bilingual.
So it's interesting because I was doing work that I thought I would never do. I grew up, like I said, I kind of grew up in the criminal justice system just because of my family circumstances. And I kind of wanted to shy away from criminal law, but it pulled me back in.
Yes.
It pulled me back in. So started doing defense work, and I realized that I started working for this firm, and then I got pregnant I first got married, had twins. I married in 2014, and I just needed more flexibility as a working mother.
Yes.
And having twins. And I wasn't getting that with my employer.
Yeah.
So I had to do something to change that. So I realized that I had a gift for making people feel comfortable in court. People would come up to me and ask me questions, and I would answer them, and I was getting clients on my own.
Wow.
And so I noticed that I had that, and I said, if I'm bringing in all these clients for my firm, why don't I just open up my own firm and be my own boss?
Yes.
So I eventually did, and it was the best decision ever because I run my firm different from the firm that I used to work for.
Okay.
I'm more hands-on. I have a lot of communication with my clients. Sometimes these situations, they're very time sensitive, and you have to react at 9 o'clock at night. You have to go to the jail.
Yes.
Or the police station to stop, police interviewing or whatever it is. And that's not something that my other firm did.
Yes.
And I think each second is critical in a criminal case.
Oh,
in the
you're
defense
correct.
Of a criminal case. So,
yes.
So anyways, that came in 2016, and it's been 5 years since then. I love what I do. I absolutely love it. Every day is different. I also am in the process of, because I know it's difficult for women of color to enter the field. There's very few of us.
Yes.
Especially Latinas and African-American women in this field, but just women in general. There's very few of us. I just got my first Latina intern, and
that is awesome.
Yeah, she's been with us for a month, and she knows no lawyers, just like me, like 15 years ago. So kind of just being a mentor to other young women, or whatever age it is, to help them enter the field.
That is awesome.
So those are just kind of some of the next steps for next year.
Well, having an intern is important because you get to educate that individual, right?
Exactly.
And then she's learning, from me, in my personal opinion, from the best. That's just my personal opinion.
Oh, thank you.
So she's getting all these tools, And like you said, the other law firm worked differently, and you're more compassionate. See, I think that's what it is.
Yeah.
Because if you're more compassionate, you would go the mile.
Right.
And then some people, it's just business.
Right.
Yeah. So
Exactly.
you're gonna teach her that. That's a
Exactly.
great quality to have.
That's something that law school doesn't teach you. How to bring in your own clients, how to go in, you go into a courtroom and you're probably the only female in that courtroom most of the time.
Yes.
How to act in those situations, how to network.
Yes.
So it's important to teach those concepts, early on.
Wow.
So.
Oh my goodness, this is good information, especially for those people that are in high school or junior college that are kind of like in between paralegal or wanting to be a lawyer. Sorry. And so now we have a resource for you, to reach out to Juanita to see if she can help you or refer you to the right people.
Absolutely. And I think that's a really good, that's some really good advice. You really have to reach out because, like, for example, my intern, she doesn't know no lawyers. And I didn't know no lawyers when I was growing up either. And I had to go seek out my own internships. And attorneys are busy. So if you get shot down, follow up with a phone call. Like if they don't respond to your email or, they forgot to call you, just follow up.
Yes.
But just networking, reaching out, getting involved in the community as well is a really good thing. It's good advice.
I think it's important too, as I'm going into school already started, and somebody reached out to me from Morningside of like resources. And because other female lawyers, I would love to have a Zoom for the Morningside High School students that are interested in paralegal or becoming a lawyer. So then we can, you guys can talk about your lives, and then we can have Q&A, and then these kids can have... And what I was going to say, so I want to connect with Morningside High School and then connect with you and your colleagues. So then we can do our first Zoom for law.
Absolutely.
For the youth, for the students at Morningside High School.
And those are actually some of the plans that I have for in the next coming months.
Awesome.
It's connecting young ladies, women, high school students, and even junior high with women who are in the industry.
Yes.
Because it's very, as I remember way back then, I'm not going to disclose my age, but back then, it was very intimidating.
Yeah.
And so kind of making that connection. And I think what's even better is that whoever you get hooked up with, or whoever your mentor is, that person have similar experiences to you or the same color of skin as you.
Yes. It's to be relatable, right?
So yeah, that's some of the plans.
Wow. Well, I'm excited. And is there anything that you want to share with the viewers? Something of motivation?
Yeah. Life is not guaranteed, obviously. You could, life could end tomorrow or maybe in 2 years. And, we are a product of our experiences. I lost my son's father when he was 28. And I honestly thought I was going to see him the next day, and I never got to say hello that night or goodbye. I lost my mom to cancer, and she went very, very fast. So just enjoy life. If you're not happy, change something about that. And live in the moment. Try to have balance in your life.
Yes.
You cannot just work, because you'll get burned out.
Yeah, burnt out.
You can't just go party. You get that's not going to be
Burnt out.
productive.
Mhm.
So you kind of just have to go balance family, friends, work, bettering yourself, and mental health is something really important.
Yes.
So exercising or, getting a pedicure or going to the
Self-care.
beach
Yeah, self-care.
or whatever that self-care may be,
Yes.
that needs to happen.
Yes.
Because
yes.
mental health is ugly if it's not on point.
Yeah, you're right.
And if you need help, reach out to somebody who could help you. So that's really just kind of my advice.
Thank
and
you.
always strive to be the best person that you can be.
Awesome. Thank you, Juanita. I appreciate you for blessing us with your testimony on purpose and passion with Raina Carrillo. So thank you, viewers. I hope you were enlightened with Juanita's testimony. For me, it's very powerful, and that's why I made sure that I had her on the show, because number one, she's my friend. She's my comadre. I'm very proud of her, and she's a freaking lawyer, and she's beautiful.
Oh, thank you.
Beautiful inside and outside, and very smart. So thank you so much, viewers, for tuning in today. Until we meet again, have a blessed day.
Glutathione is a big word. It's the body's own master antioxidant. It's a scavenger for free radical, bacteria, and viruses. There are no products in the market with the ingredient NASET. NASET increases the production of glutathione that's in our body already to strengthen and enhance our immune system, elevate sense of well-being, support muscle strength and endurance, cognitive function, and liver support. It helps with increased energy and blood sugar regulation. Get your bottle of GSH Plus from www.salvationnutra.com.